Hey everybody, it's Bill. I'm the salty old Marine. How do I get started? Well, let's talk about that. So let's say you're a veteran and you are interested in pursuing a disability claim. Now, you know that in order to have a disability claim with the VA, you have to have a disability, right? So that disability, for the purposes of getting a disability rating from the VA, had to have happened while you were in the military. So the first thing you'll need is an in-service event. Okay, something happened to you while you were in the military. It caused a physical or mental problem, and that's the first thing you need. You'll have to prove it to the VA. Now, this isn't a criminal court. You don't have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, or I don't know, whatever the standard, the burden of proof is for a criminal case. More along the lines of have some plausible explanation for what happened to you in your record book or in your medical records from the time you were in the military. And for almost all of us, those records are still available. There are certain situations where there was damage done to various National Archives, and some, unfortunately, some records were destroyed in a big fire in St. Louis back in the 1970s. But for the most part, all of us have our records stored online. So if you don't have a copy of your records, and probably most of us don't, you need to get that. So I'm going to put a link in the description to where you can go to request your records from your time in the military. You're going to want to request things like your DD-214, which is going to show your discharge time, dates you served, and the nature of your discharge, honorable, etc. And also it's going to show things like any medals you were awarded, any actions you fought in, things like that if you served during time of war. In addition to that, you're going to want a copy of your military record book, your SRB, as they called it in my day, your service record book, and you're going to want a copy of your medical records. So you can request those online. Again, I'm going to put a link in the description. Click on that, fill that out. Unfortunately, depending on what service you served in and what era, what years you served, some of those records are stored in different places. The government just doesn't have them all in one place for some reason. Go figure. Military, government. But you can figure it out and click on that, put in your request. It doesn't cost you anything. And it'll take a little time, but you will get those records that you requested. They'll be available online to download as a big PDF file. So I recommend that you do that. Once you have those, you're going to want to go through them with a fine-tooth comb and find any evidence that would tend to show your in-service event. Okay, so that's the first thing. You need that in-service event. Now, the question I'm asked often is, what do I do if there is no record of it in my records? So, in other words, something happened to me, I was in the service, it was a bad thing, it causes me problems even today, but I didn't go to sick call, and there's no record of it in my record book, and I can't prove that this happened to me while I was in the service. Yeah, that's a bummer, but there are other ways to prove the event happened. Witnesses from that time who can talk about that, primary. So you're going to want to get in touch with your old buddies. I know a lot of us are still in contact with our old friends on Facebook and various other social media, or you still live nearby, or you just call each other on the phone, or you go to reunions or whatever. But you're going to have to reach out to those folks if they were witnesses to the event. You're going to want to get them to write a statement in support of the event. Again, I'll put a link in the description. It's called a buddy letter. It can be done on this official form that I'm going to give you the link to, or it can be done just as a letter, right? But somehow you've got to get your friends to say, I was there, I saw it, it was at this time, at this date, at this location, and this is how I saw it happen, and this is how I saw the effects of it on this particular service member, and signed truthfully, honestly, et cetera, by this person. So those can be people you served with. They could even be just regular citizens who happen to know about it, family members, a spouse, anybody who has personal knowledge of the event when it happened. So those are other ways that an event like that can be proven. I've even heard of some service members who said, well, I did see a doctor, but it was back in my hometown, and I went to the hospital when I got home on leave, and they fixed me up or whatever. Well, okay, that's fine. That's a good record too, but it's going to take a little more work on your part. You're going to have to get to that hospital and somehow get a copy of those records. And if it was a long time ago, it might be difficult. I won't say that it's not. Hopefully it's not impossible, but you're going to have to do your best. You're going to need those records. So, number one, first step, if you're filing a VA claim for disability, you must have an in-service event. And if there is an in-service event, there must be something to back that up. Finally, there are a few cases where you do not have to prove an in-service event. One of those is covered under the PACT Act, and basically it's a condition that you are assumed to have due to the time and place that you served and the conditions under which you served. What I'm talking about here is people who were exposed to burn pits, for example, people who were exposed to Agent Orange, people who were exposed to the water in Camp Lejeune. I was, by the way. You'll have to check online. I'll put a link in the description. If you have any of the covered conditions for those times, those places, and those situations, then you don't have to prove the event. That will be presumed. It's a presumed condition. So it will be far, far easier for you to make a successful claim for a disability if you are one of those people. Okay, so what we've covered here is, number one, you're going to need a copy of your records. You should get that anyway, just to have, right? I'll give you the link in the description as to how to get those. Number two, you need to go through those records very carefully and read them and look for those conditions, because that's what you're going to send to the VA as part of your claim. Three, you're going to have to reach out to anybody who could have been a witness to those things at those times and get them to write a buddy letter. Get them to make a statement on your behalf as to what they saw, when it happened, where it happened, how it affected you. And then finally, if you're a veteran who was covered under the PACT Act for any kind of condition that is listed under the PACT Act, and again, link in the description, then you can rely on that to prove your disability. You won't need to go any further than that. So that's going to be the information for this particular video. I'm going to ask you to please like, please share, please subscribe, leave a comment. Comments are great. They help the algorithm. YouTube will start promoting these videos and we'll get it out to more people if you do those things. And so I'm asking you, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. We're going to get this information out to as many people as we can. This is Bill. I'm the Salty Old Marine. I hope you have a great day.